In this video, we're going to be looking at the geometry of completing the square. And in 1, they want us to factor the expression x squared plus 8x plus 16. And this can be factored to x plus 4 times x plus 4, which is equal to x plus 4 squared. And then it asks, what is the relationship between the constant term in the factored form and the coefficient of x in the trinomial? The coefficient of x in the trinomial is 8, and our constant term in the factored form is 4. So we could say that 4 is equal to 1/2 times 8. And 2, it says, this problem examines the geometry behind completing the square. It answers the question, what needs to be added to x squared plus 8x in order to write it as a perfect square? In A, it says, find the area of the rectangles to the right. So in the first rectangle, A1, we have x times x, or x squared. In box 2, we have area 2 is equal to x times 8, 8x. In B, they want us to divide the 8 by x rectangle into 2 equal rectangles. And then it asked, what is the width of each rectangle? So if we have a rectangle that was split into 2 equal parts and it was 8 wide, it would be 4 and 4. So the width of each rectangle is 4. In C, it says a shaded rectangle is attached to 2 adjacent sides of the square as shown to the right. In order to obtain the shape of a perfect square, a rectangle must be added to the figure. And if we added the rectangle, it would go in here to complete this square. And then it says, what is the size of the rectangle? Well, the width here in this direction is 4, and we can see that from above. And then over here we can see that it's 4 this way as well. So the size of the rectangle that needed to be added was 4 by 4. And then it asks, is this a square? And the answer is yes, because the length of each side is the same. And D, it says, to complete the square, how does the length of the sides of the small square relate to the coefficient of x? And our coefficient of x was 8, and the length of the sides was 4. So 1/2 times the coefficient is equal to 4, which is the length of the side of the rectangle we added to complete the square. And then it says, what must be done to x squared plus 8x in order for it to become a perfect square? And we must add 4 squared to it. And 4 squared is equal to 16. So we could say that x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to x plus 4 squared. In 3, it says, based on your findings, what do you need to add to x squared plus 10x in order to complete the square? In order to complete the square, we need to take 1/2 of our coefficient of x, which is 10, and square it. So we're going to have 1/2 times 10 all squared, which is equal to 1/2 times 10 is 5 squared, and 5 squared is equal to 25. And then it asks, is the result a perfect square trinomial? And the answer is yes. If we write x squared plus 10x plus 25, that is equal to x plus 5 squared. In 4, they want us to determine the value of c that makes the expression a perfect square trinomial and then factor. In A, we have x squared minus 4x plus c, and we need c to be 1/2 of the coefficient of x, which is 4, all squared, and 1/2 times 4 is equal to 2 squared, and 2 squared is equal to 4. And then we have x squared minus 4x plus 4, and we can write that as x minus 2 squared. In b, we have x squared plus 7x plus c, and our coefficient in front of the x is 7, so c is equal to 1 half times 7, all squared. And then we have 7 halves squared, which is equal to 49 over 4. And now we can write x squared plus 7x plus 49 over 4, and that is equal to x plus 7 halves squared. And if you notice that the value that is our constant term in our perfect square is also the number that we got by taking 1 half of the coefficient in front of x. In c, we have x squared plus 3/5 x plus c, so c is equal to 1 half times 3/5 squared, which is equal to 1 half times 3/5 is equal to 3/10, and now we square it, which is equal to 9 over 100. And we can write this as x squared plus 3/5 x plus 9 over 100, which is equal to x plus 3/10 squared. And that's our video on the geometry of completing the square.